I've been writing online for over a decade now. Medium, WordPress, Quora, Twitter, Substack, you name it, I've tried them all and with varying degrees of success. Hi there, my name is Brian Collins. Welcome to the Become a Writer Today channel. So in this video, I'm going to go into detail about 7 different things I wish people had told me when I started writing online for the first time. These pieces of advice will save you a lot of time and it will also help you understand the challenges that online writers face today. Hope you enjoy the content in this video. If you do, hit thumbs up. If you want to get more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Number 1, you're not too late. When you go onto Twitter and you see somebody with hundreds of thousands of followers, or when you visit a writer that you like on Medium and you see that they're getting tens of thousands of claps or impressions on their articles, it can feel like you're never going to be able to catch up with them. But here's the thing, new platforms are emerging all the time. Just because somebody's found success on one platform, that doesn't necessarily mean that they own a particular genre, niche, or niche. In fact, there are more opportunities than ever today for writers. All you have to do is to find one that suits your voice and that has your ideal readers already baked in. A couple of years ago, I spent a lot of time writing on Medium. These days, I focus mostly on writing for the content sites that I run because I've had more success there. So experiment with different platforms, figure out what works best for you, and over time you will find one or two that naturally suit your tone of voice and the topics that you like to write about. Number 2, nobody is reading your work at first. When I first started writing online, I'd labor over an article or a blog post. I'd spend hours trying to get it right. And then I'd press send, submit, or publish, and crickets. Nobody would read it. And I'd feel really disappointed and like I'd wasted my time. But it was only after a year or two I realized that this was kind of liberating. You see, it freed me up to explore different genres, niches, or niches. I tried writing about productivity and personal development, entrepreneurship and creativity and writing. I even started a tech blog before I started Become a Writer Today. And because I didn't have an audience or readers, I was free to explore all of these different genres or niches. I was also free to try different types of genres and types of writing without necessarily worrying about how people would react. On the other hand, if you have an audience that expects certain types of content from you, and then you start producing something else, people will email to say that they're disappointed or unhappy, or they want you to go back to what you previously wrote about. So the fact that nobody's reading at first frees you up to make mistakes and to figure out what your writing voice is. Number 3, you can say the same thing many times online. When I started writing online, I would write an article about creative habits or how to accomplish more as a writer. And then I would consider that topic covered and would move on to the next thing. But it was only much later that I realized that just because I'd written an article about a particular topic, that didn't mean all of my ideal readers had actually found and enjoyed the article. I could still go ahead and take elements from that article and expand them and turn them into different pieces. Or I could repurpose them as Twitter threads or Quora answers, or even for videos like this one. The internet is a huge and vast place. You can write about the same topic many times before your ideal reader will come across it. So don't be afraid to repeat yourself or to rehash old ideas. Now, I'm not advocating a copy and paste exercise, but sometimes when I take an old article and then I rewrite it and update it, I'll find that I have new research or insights or stories that I can put into the article, or I can simply improve it in some way. These days I have over 1,000 articles on my site Become a Writer Today. Now, I didn't write all of them, but I do make a habit of going back and taking articles that I wrote or that other writers wrote and updating them over time. And this helps me, firstly, improve the quality of those articles, and secondly, attract more readers who missed them first time around. The 4th piece of advice that I wish I'd known is to get comfortable with analytics. If you're going to write online, then spend a little bit of time diving into the analytics on Medium or Twitter or WordPress, or better yet, Google Analytics. Once a week, every Friday, I log into my Google Analytics account and I go in and I look at all of the articles that have attracted the most website traffic. I figure out what types of keywords are attracting the most readers to my sites, and I use all of this information to figure out what types of articles to write next. I've also used analytic tools to figure out what types of titles to give my books, and also to figure out what types of headlines get the most clicks and engagement. As a writer, if you can marry your talent for the written word with a little bit of metrics and numbers, you'll stand a far better chance of standing out amongst everybody else creating content online today. And the analytical tools and platforms that are out there are easier than ever to understand. But if you are going to use these analytics tools, don't make the mistake I did and get sucked down a rabbit hole of vanity metrics. So in this case, this could be me feeling jealous about somebody else having a huge follower count. These days, what I'm actually looking for are perhaps email subscribers or people who've actually engaged with the content rather than a number that sits on top of my social media profile. You should too. That brings me to number 5. It takes time to get your content flywheel moving. So when I started writing articles for my sites and I published them, I'd look at my Google Analytics and I'd wonder where all the traffic is. I often felt like I was getting nowhere fast. But then I came across the concept of the flywheel, which Jim Collins articulates in his excellent book, Turning the Flywheel. Now, it's a metaphor he uses which applies to the business world, but the same applies to writers who are working online. When you first set up a Twitter account or a Substack or a WordPress blog, you can feel like you're pushing against that flywheel and it's going nowhere. But slowly over time, the flywheel will begin to move. And then it'll start to gain some momentum of its own and start to roll down the hill without you having to do anything. For me, this meant that old articles, which I'd spent hours on laboring over weeks and months ago, were now attracting email subscribers even though I wasn't doing anything. So if you feel like you're not making progress at first, if you're not growing your account or attracting the right kind of readers or traffic, remember, it can take weeks, months, or even a couple of years to get your content flywheel going. In fact, my business, Become a Writer Today, didn't really start earning money until year 2 or year 3. And I didn't really quit my job to work in it full time until year 6 or year 7. Quora, Medium, Substack, Twitter, WordPress, there were so many great places for writers to publish their work and find readers. But don't rely too much on one platform. The simple fact is that platforms can change the algorithm and they can change the rules. They could even deplatform you. You could have to start paying advertising to get your content to surface in your readers' feeds. A good example is Amazon. When I started self-publishing on Amazon a few years ago, it was pretty easy to sell a self-published book if you had a good title, a good cover, and you got some good reviews. Your book would automatically appear on the Kindle listings. These days, it's all but impossible for an indie author to sell meaningful copies of their work unless they're investing in Amazon ads. However, if an indie author has an email list, they can drive traffic from their email list to their book sales page and sell copies that way, or they could even sell direct. So don't rely too much on one Twitter or one Substack or WordPress site. Ask yourself, how can you rely on multiple different platforms to connect with readers? And ideally, you will own some of these platforms yourself. So for me, this means running a self-hosted WordPress site and not just a Substack newsletter. It also means having an email list that I control, which isn't dependent on a Google search algorithm or a change to how Twitter displays my content on social media. And finally, if you're feeling overwhelmed writing online, you're not alone. I know I did too. There's a lot to publishing blog posts every week. You got to source images, lay them out, add internal links, fact check them, grammar check them. It can get exhausting. And then you've also got to take care of keyword research. And then if you're doing it full time, you've got to prepare your tax returns for your accountant or for the taxman. And all of this can take away from the one reason why you got into this business in the first place, writing. So if you're finding it all a little bit overwhelming, here's what I did. Hire an assistant. You can hire an assistant who loves taking care of some of these tasks or responsibilities for you. The first person that I hired in my business, well, I didn't actually hire them, I outsourced the one task that caused me the most stress and caused me to pull out the most hair. I contacted a bookkeeper and asked them to take care of my books each month because I found I was spending hours doing this at the end of the month to get ready for tax returns. So ask yourself, what tasks do you hate spending time on and which are taking away the most from your writing? Chances are there's somebody who is better at it than you and would love to do it for you for a small fee. And of course, once you've got that flywheel moving, once you're getting readers and traffic on a platform that you own, chances are you will have an income that you can use to invest in this part of your writing business. Those are 7 different things that I wish I'd known before I started writing online. Are you writing online? What do you wish you'd known at the start of your journey? Let me know in the comment section below this video. And of course, if you want to get more advice like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel.